We have a lot of choices in cars right now and a lot of choices in electric cars. And even within those electric cars, we still have a lot of choices. But what we don't find are a lot of affordable choices and electric cars that have a lot of options. Not any longer. I'm going to tell you about the Chevrolet Equinox EV. It is all electric. It is brand new from the ground up. So if you think you know Equinox, you don't know Equinox if you haven't seen this EV. And it has a starting price in the mid $30,000 range. And it qualifies for the full $7,500 federal tax incentive. So you can get that $7,500 knocked right off the top of the price of the car. It's pretty interesting, and I'm excited to show you the Chevy Equinox EV. You can get more details on the Chevy Equinox EV by going to A Girl's Guide to Cars. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on social media, and when there's a video that pops up here, that's a video that was picked just for you because we think you're going to find it interesting. So follow along, A Girl's Guide to Cars right here on YouTube, and don't miss a thing. This is the Chevy Equinox EV. Take a look at this space. You'll notice it has the Chevrolet bow right there, and that's a light bar that stretches from one headlight to the other. We're driving the RS edition, which has this carbon fiber light trim. It's not actually carbon fiber, but it looks like it. And there is the RS badge there on the front grille. It has this diamond cut plastic panel. There's a lot of sensors and things in there, and there's a little air intake there on the bottom. So all of that contributes to the new face of the Chevy Equinox EV. On the side, you'll see the Equinox badge over here. It has that blue E, which signals that this is electric. You'll see that there. And it has nicely wide set wheels. So you'll see the wheels are really close to the rear and to the front of the car. That's to give this Equinox a little more agility, a little firmer stance on the road. So a little more confidence when you're behind the wheel. Here on the rear of the Equinox, you'll see there's a rear tail bar here. It's got this almost sort of piano key treatment between the red light bars there. And then again, that Equinox name spelled out in black. We have black on black with the blue E, which is what signals the electric powertrain from Chevrolet, and actually from all GM models because they use the Ultium platform. There is the RS badge. And I'm going to ask you a question. Looking at the profile of this car, it has these wide shoulders here, the profile of the car sort of pops out over the rear wheels, and the spoiler reminds me of a certain German performance SUV that I know and like very much. And I've asked a few other people, and we all seem to think the same thing. The aerodynamics and the shape and inspiration feel really familiar, and they feel really sporty. What they don't feel like is cheap. I'm excited to get behind the wheel of the Equinox and show you what this car is all about. The Equinox EV is a two-row SUV. It seats 5 passengers. Let's take a look at the cargo space, which is really nice. This has 24, almost 25 cubic feet of cargo space. So you can see it's really nice and deep here. The rear seats, you're going to have to fold them flat. They do fold pretty flat, but you're going to have to trigger them with the button on the shoulder of the seat. But I want to show you this because this is pretty interesting. When you look at the Chevy Equinox EV, and that is underneath here is a really large storage area. We've got a nice deep bin where you could store maybe an emergency kit. You could leave some blankets or beach towels, things like that. It's even big enough to hold like soccer balls, some really big things. So that's pretty impressive. And then there's a space to put your charge cord. They've put it in and package it in a very nice little case. And so there's room to stow that as well. The stowage in here is pretty impressive. And because it's an electric car, it has a power gate close. The Equinox comes in 2 power options. There's an all-wheel drive that's a dual motor, and it has 280 or so miles of range and generates about 288 horsepower. We're driving the front-wheel drive version, which has 319 miles of range and generates about 213 horsepower. So not quite as powerful, but it's not a huge SUV. You don't really need that much power. We tested it out this morning and it drove great on the highways, on local roads. And then all versions have one pedal driving, regenerative braking, fast charging, so 77 miles in about 10 minutes at a DC fast charger. You can charge it at home and fully charge the entire thing overnight using a level 2 charger. And then it has features like available Super Cruise. We're going to try that out. I'll show you what that looks like. And a lot of great features that are all standard no matter which trim you choose. We're driving the RS Edition, which has a starting price of just under $45,000. There also is an LT Edition that's priced about $1,000 less. Coming later this year, later in 2025, we'll also see an LT1, which has a starting price of about $35,000. So really well priced. Subtract that federal tax incentive and any local tax incentives, and that could actually be a $25,000 car. All electric, doesn't use gas, and at $3.50 a gallon, that is quite a savings, especially if you drive a lot. Getting into the Equinox EV and moving along, starting your day, starting your car, could not be more simple. All you do is hop in and press the brake. It senses the key, it senses that you're in your seat, and you can set it for buckle to drive, which means you cannot drive until you have buckled your seatbelt, which is a really nice feature, especially if you have teen drivers in your house. So Chevrolet has completely redone everything here. These are some features that you're going to find in some of their other cars and SUVs as well. We see a very similar setup in the Blazer. We see a similar setup in the Silverado EV, and that is this really large 17-inch screen. Actually, we see the same thing in the Traverse as well, which is not electric, and that is the 17.7-inch multimedia system here, a 12-inch driver display here. It's really crisp. It looks really great. It also looks and feels really premium, even though this is a very affordably priced car. You can also get Super Cruise, which is this bar here, and it's the hands-free drive system. So when you get into the Equinox EV, you get this message, press brake to start. You press the brake and the car comes alive. So this screen lights up. It shows you all the things that are active, and then this screen does too. And let me take you through some of the really cool features here in the Chevy Equinox EV. And the things I'm going to try to talk about things that are standard, and I'll tell you what's not standard because there are some nice additions on this car as well. So starting here with the driver display, we actually can page through just pressing this little button here, and you can decide which kind of driver display you'd like to have. So you can see, if you want to see your kilowatt hours being used at the moment, you could see it right there. If that's too much information, or you'd like to have your navigation right here in front of you, you can turn that on. Over here is our multimedia screen. This has been completely redesigned. We're finding this in all of Chevrolet's electric cars, but also all of their new cars. So we see a similar system in the Chevy Traverse that we just drove. We're going to see it in all of their cars coming up. And you'll notice there's a toolbar here. So there's home. This is, you can split the screen for different displays, music, phone. We don't have a phone paired. There's our navigation, and that's a quick control button. So you can turn on the lights, you can turn on the camera around the outside of the car. You can turn on or off traction control, auto high beams, park assist. This is actually auto park. So when you tap this on, the car will park itself, and park assist. And then there's even more controls. So you can set controls for your driving. You can set controls for the lights and for the doors and windows. So a lot of really nice function inside this system here. Then when you tap the home button, you get your main screen, and these are all your apps. So Google Assistant here, Play Store, so if you want to if you want to load apps there, Alexa, so you can connect to your home Alexa, vehicle settings there again is that auto park, climate, if you want to customize your climate a little bit more, you can do that there as well. And then we have some of our apps. So here's Waze. You do have to log into your own Google account to get Waze, podcasts, and news. And then there's the My Chevrolet app is right there. So this will be on your phone. And once you've connected your phone and signed up for the My Chevrolet app, then you'll have more function here as well. Then over here, there are some quick buttons. And this one is really important. This is your headlight setting. So there is not a stock or buttons or anything over here for your headlights. They are all going to be right here on this screen. So you can turn them on auto, you can change the settings. I like to turn the lights on for certain occasions. If I'm working outside and I need some extra light, or if I'm shooting a video and I want to turn the lights on, I do that. And then you can just set it to auto, or you could turn them off if you want. And then you have, will turn the car off. If you tap that, this will allow you to set a time that the car will run before it turns off. And this is the one pedal driving. And this is the one that I really love, is one pedal driving. You can set it to normal. If you have passengers in the rear seat, you might want to do that. But I really like one pedal driving because this will allow you to only use the accelerator and rarely use the brake to power the car. And just by adjusting your pressure on the accelerator is when you use the minimum amount of battery needed to power the car. Over here on the steering wheel is where we have our Super Cruise settings. I'm going to drive and I'll show you what that looks like. And then we have our entertainment settings here. This is our heated steering wheel, and then this is where you press this to toggle through all the different screen settings there. Over here we have static settings for climate control, so you can set the fan speed there, or you can actually set the fan speed over here, which is kind of nice. And then you can turn on auto recirculate for more efficient use. Here are heated seats, don't need that today. And then you can turn on or off the air conditioning. There's auto. You can turn on or off the AC. And our defrosters are there. And then this is our temperature control. So you can actually set the entire cabin temperature right there, or you can use this button to toggle your cabin temperature as well. Or you can do this. Hey Google, set the cabin temperature to low.
Got it. Changing the temperature to low.
So I really like this whole Google system. It's a little bit of a trade-off. We don't have Apple CarPlay in here, but the Google system is really nice. Under this screen is where we have our drive modes: normal, sport, snow and ice, and then my mode. And here's where you can customize your mode. So if you want, say you want sport steering and you want sport acceleration, but brake, let's add that. Motor sound, definitely want sport. Or you can just go to sport mode and click that, and then you'll have all of those as well. But my mode will give you some other options as well. So maybe you don't want sporty brake feel. Maybe you want that more normal. Maybe you want no sport sound on the motor. You can actually turn that to normal, or you can turn it off. That's a really nice setup for this computer on wheels. So no, I'm not just having a Beyonce moment. It is 85 degrees and really humid outside. So I'm sitting in the car to cool off a little bit and enjoying this blast of air conditioning in the Chevy Equinox EV. And you might be afraid that this is going to ruin your battery range and really drain the battery. Well, I did the same thing yesterday when we drove the Silverado EV, and even though we sat in the car and ran the air conditioner almost all day, it barely affected our range. In fact, we sat with the air conditioner on in the car for about 2 hours while we were shooting video, left the car on, or the truck on, and the air conditioner on, and it used about 8 miles of range. So pretty good. Now you have to remember that Chevrolet has been building electric cars for a very long time. They introduced the Chevy Volt, which was the first plug-in electric hybrid, in 2012, and they have really perfected their game since then. They've developed their own battery system called Ultium, and they've really worked on the efficiency of critical systems like heating and air conditioning and heated seats and heated steering wheel, so that everyone's comfortable in their cars no matter what the weather's doing outside, and to not kill your battery range. And that's something I really appreciate, especially since I can sit inside while my drive partner's out there sweating in the sun, and I'm sitting here enjoying the air conditioning, and we still are going to be fine on our battery range. What else do we have here? Well, there's a nice big cubby here. There's 2 cup holders here. There's actually a nice little bin too where a phone will fit, and there are 2 USB ports here, so that's nice. And then there's a nice little bin down here too. all of this is open space because the gear selector's over here, and actually I just put it in neutral, so put it back in park. The gear selector's over here, and you pull it towards you and down for drive and up for reverse, and then you push this little button on the end for park. Over here, we have some buttons, including our lane keep assist and auto hold, and the latch, the tailgate release is over here too. So if you need to put the tailgate up, you can do that. And then over here, you'll also find your parking brake. Under here, there's a nice little armrest with a little cubby that comes out. And for a little extra storage, it's actually kind of intentionally shaped and fits nicely in this space, which is nice. And then we have these really nice leatherette seats with these cloth inserts and the RS badge. So the whole RS design motif is very clear in this car. We've got dark leatherette seats. They're perforated for heating. Ours only has the heated seats, but that's a really nice feature. And then we also have a heated steering wheel, I believe. Yes. And we also have a heated steering wheel, which is right here. So if you are driving on a cold day and you really want to preserve that battery range, turn on your heated seats, turn on your heated steering wheel, and let the cabin heat the body, not the cabin. That's going to save your battery. One of the magic things about EVs is a large rear seat, large enough for rear-facing car seats and forward-facing car seats and baby seats. I'm 5'8". Now I'm going to go see how much space we have behind my seat for rear-facing and forward-facing child passenger car seats. So in the rear seat, we have a lot of nice features for backseat passengers. So this seat is set for me. I'm 5'8". This one is actually set for my drive partner. He's 6 feet tall, so I'll measure behind that one as well. And I have a good amount of space. I've got really good leg room. The floor is completely flat or almost completely flat, and that's a great place to put a bag or a backpack, something like that. We've got 2 USB-C ports here, air vents here. Now let's look at the fit for car seats. So these seats side to side are about 21 inches. We've got about 12 inches between the seat belts. And then behind the 6 foot tall passenger, we have about 30 inches. We've got about 30 and a half inches. Behind the 5'8" tall passenger, we have 32 and a half inches. So really a lot of space for rear-facing child passenger car seats. Child passenger car seats are going to be really easy to install with these ISOFIX latches. You just lift this, and then if you have the rigid connectors, they will just slide right in. So that's going to be really easy. There are 2 full sets of the latches, and then we have a tether here in the rear of the center seat. Rear seat passengers also get a nice little fold down armrest with cup holders. We have air vents here that you can point up, but we don't have them in the ceiling or in the pillars. And we have 2 USB-C ports there and a little tiny little storage cubby right there, which is perfect for phones or other small things. I have every confidence in saying 1 rear-facing seat is easy. 2 rear-facing seats are a very strong possibility in the Chevrolet Equinox, which is a compact SUV that is all electric. So behind the wheel of the Chevy Equinox EV, it's pretty good. 213 horsepower in the front wheel drive version, 288 in the all-wheel drive, so that's pretty nice. We just merged onto the highway and I punched it and we went. It was really good. There's a lot of torque on the, in low speed, so you can get up to speed really quickly. And then 213 horsepower, that might be something you feel if you fill all the seats in the car and you have a lot of stuff in the trunk. You probably are going to feel that. So if that's the case, if you're really going to have passengers and you're going to carry a lot of cargo in this little SUV, you might want to consider going for the all-wheel drive so that you actually have the power that you need to accommodate your driving. But another option that you really should think about, and that is this Super Cruise. So I'm going to turn it on, and I can see over here in my driver display that my adaptive cruise is on, so that has to be on. That is this button over here, and then I can tap the Super Cruise button, and I see the blue light blink here on the steering wheel, and when it turns green, I can let go. I also get a notification here that says Super Cruise is active, and then it also tells me that we're about to enter a construction zone and to drive with care. Now that's really important. This car even though it's hands-free and it will do a lot of the driving for you, needs you to be paying attention behind the wheel. There's actually a camera here that will watch your eyes and make sure that you're face forward and looking at the road, so that if something happens, a driver pulls in front of you, a piece of trash flies across the highway, say a tire or a tool bounces off the back of a truck in front of you. Ask me how I know what that looks like, because that's happened to me before. You need to have your hands on the wheel and be ready to react no matter what happens. And this system is here to help you with that. So now I have a truck that's just pulled in front of me. Super Cruise is slowing me down a little bit. Not enough for my taste, so I'm actually going to change my gap adjust. You get a 1, 2, or a 3. You can have 3, which is the greatest distance between you and the car ahead of you, 2, which is medium, and 1, which is the least amount of distance between you and the car ahead of you. So I turned it to 3. That's too much. I'm going too slow. So I'm going to actually click it down to 2, and now I am good to go. And I'm trailing behind this trailer because he's going kind of slow, but I'm still going 70 miles an hour. And as soon as this truck passes me here on the left, Super Cruise should change lanes for me, because I'm set at 72. No, I guess I'm going the speed that, let's see. So I set it up to 75. And now I'm slowing down because the car ahead of me is slowing down. And Super Cruise will change lanes for me automatically. Okay, now I get a notification that says auto lane change, and now, can you tell? It's changing lanes and I didn't have to do anything. And boom, there we are. So now we're in this lane, not behind these trucks. I love it when someone's looking out for me. That just is really nice. Really great day out on the road with the Chevy Equinox EV. I love the one pedal braking. It works really nicely. Even though we're driving the lower powered front wheel drive edition, it was really comfortable and confident on the highway. The leatherette seats are a really nice touch, especially in a car this price. And if you're really interested in the all-wheel drive, if that's something you need, it's about a $2,000 premium, but you get a lot more power, slightly lower all-electric range, but a lot more power, and that might be worth it alone just for that extra $2,000 bump. All-wheel drive, though, if you live in a state where you have weather, you have snow, you have ice, you need all-wheel drive, and luckily that's available. Chevrolet did a really nice job packaging everything you need in this compact, small but not the smallest that they build, electric car. Lots of great features, a really nice price. Think about this, it still is, even really nicely loaded, about $5,000 less than the average cost of a new car in the United States right now, and that's before the federal tax incentives and any local incentives that you might qualify for as well. The Blazer EV is slightly larger, it's slightly bigger, slightly more expensive. I really love the size and the scale of this one. It's an EV that'll really work well for a lot of people.